Our objective for today is I can determine the rule of a pattern by looking at the relationship between the numbers and extending the pattern by using the rule. So there's two really important pieces to our objective. The first is finding the rule. So we've got to be able to find the rule, which would be like +2 or multiply by 3, in order to extend the pattern. So this is our second really important part of our objective. So we'll be able to do two different things: determine the rule and extend the pattern. Before we get started on our problem, we're going to look at our two important vocabulary words. Our first word is pattern. A pattern is a series of numbers or shapes that repeat in a certain order. Our second important vocab word for this week is rule. A rule is the operation of a pattern. So we're going to be looking at the pattern to determine the rule, and then we'll use this rule to extend our pattern. What are the next three numbers in the pattern? 6,000, 6,003, 6,009, 6,018, 6,030, 6,045, and then I've got 3 blanks to extend my pattern, 3 numbers. So this problem is asking me for the next 3 numbers in the pattern. So we're going to be extending the pattern using our rule. So the first thing we need to do is look for our rule. So let's go to our anchor chart, look at step 1. I need to ask myself, are the numbers increasing or decreasing? So let's look at our pattern. 6,000, 6,003, 6,009, 6,018, 6,030, 6,040. Our numbers are getting bigger. They're increasing. So go back to our anchor chart again. Take a look at increasing. If our numbers are increasing, then we're either going to be adding or multiplying. So next we're going to decide, do we multiply to get to the next number, or do we add to get to the next number? So take a look at step 2. Step 2 tells us to find the relationship between the first 2 numbers. So go back over to our pattern, and we're only going to focus on the first 2 numbers, 6,000 and 6,003. So I want to find the relationship between the 2 numbers. How do I go from 6,000 to 6,003? So first I'm thinking about multiplication. If I multiply 6,000 by 1, I get 6,000. That doesn't work. If I multiply 6,000 by 2, I get 12,000. Well, that's way over my number. So we're not going to be multiplying. But our number is still increasing, so we know we're going to be adding. So back to 6,000. What number can I add to 6,000 to get 6,003? We can add 3. 6,000 plus 3 is 6,003. So we're going to go back to our anchor chart, step 3. Step 3 tells me to check through entire pattern. This step is really important because my pattern isn't always going to be increasing by the same number. So let's go back to check and see if our rule of +3 is correct for the whole pattern. All right, so next up, 6,003 plus 3 is 6,006. Well, that doesn't match my pattern. So this can't be a rule of just plus 3. So now we're going back to step 2. What's the relationship between these two numbers, 6,003 and 6,009? Well, my number's still increasing. We're still adding. We're just not adding 3. So you could either figure out what we're adding using mental math, right? Just doing the math in your head. Another little trick we can use is finding the difference between the two numbers, especially when our numbers are a little bit bigger like they are here. So I'm looking at the relationship between 6,003 and 6,009. So a trick that I like to use is just to find the difference. So we can take 6,009 minus 6,003. Find the difference. 9 minus 3 is 6. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. And 6 minus 6 is 0. So the difference between these two numbers is 6. So if you don't want to use mental math, you can just find the difference. 6,003 plus 6 is 6,009. Okay, back to our pattern. Now I want to find the relationship between 6,009 and 6,018. Well, we could try plus 3. 6,009 plus 3 would be 6,012. That doesn't match. Let's try plus 6. 6,009 plus 6 would be 6,015. Well, that doesn't match either. So again, we can use this trick where we find the difference instead of using mental math. So we can do 6,018, we always put the greater number on top, minus 6,009. 8 minus 9, we can't do that. There's more on the floor, so we go next door and borrow. My 1 becomes a 0. We give 10 to 8. 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. And 6 minus 6 is 0. So the difference between 6,009 and 6,018 is 9. So we can say the relationship here is add 9. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for my next two numbers, 6,018 and 6,030. We can take the bigger number, put it on top, 6,030, take away 6,018, and find the difference. 0 minus 8, we can't do that, there's more on the floor. So we go next door and borrow. My 3 becomes a 2. 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. So the difference between these two numbers is 12. That tells me I can add 12 to 6,018 to get to 6,030. Now let's look at our next two numbers, 6,030 and 6,045. We can find the difference between the two numbers to figure out what to add. So we've got 6,045, take away 6,030. 5 minus 0 is 5. 4 minus 3 is 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. So we've got 15. We can add 15, right? 6,030 plus 15 is 6,045. So let's talk about what we just did for a second. We figured out that our numbers were increasing. We figured out that we were going to add. when we were looking at the relationship between the numbers, we knew that it wasn't just adding the same number every time. So we checked through the entire pattern, and there in step 3, it says if it's not increasing or decreasing by the same amount, you need to find the relationship between each set of numbers. That's why checking through the pattern is so important. So now let's figure out what our rule is. Well, let's take a look at the numbers that we added. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh, this sounds a lot like skip counting by threes, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So we could say the rule for this pattern is adding multiples of 3. So we determined the rule of the pattern. Now we've got to extend it. So just like we never added the same number twice in our pattern, we're not going to do that for extending the pattern either. So before we add anything, we have to figure out what we need to add. So we stopped at 15, so we need to find the next 3 multiples of 3 by skip counting. So if you already know your 3's by memory, you can just keep skip counting, or you can use our skip count trick using dots. So we stopped at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And we can stop there because we only needed 3 more multiples of 3. Now we can plug these in up top. So next we're going to add 18, then we're going to add 21, and last we're going to add 24. All right, let's go ahead and stack and add these multiples so we can extend our pattern and finish up. So first we're going to add our next multiple, 18, to the last number in our pattern. So we've got 6,045 plus 18. 5 plus 8 is 13. 4 plus 1 plus 1, 6. Bring down my 0, bring down my 6. 6,063. So we can plug that in. Okay, now we're going to take that number, 6,063, and we're going to add our next multiple, 21. 3 plus 1 is 4. 6 plus 2 is 8. Bring down my 0, bring down my 6. 6,084. So we'll plug it in. And we're going to take that same number and extend our pattern for our last spot. Add 24. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry your 1. 6,108. So we have extended our pattern 3 times. Now let's just find which answer choice matches. All right, so A, the first number is 6,060. Well, our first number in our extended pattern is 6,063. So we can go ahead and eliminate A. That doesn't match already. Looking at B. Again, the first number is 6,060. Well, our first number when we extended that pattern is 6,063, so we can eliminate that also. All right, looking at C. First number is 6,063. Okay, that matches our pattern. Next number is 6,081. Nope, our next number is 6,084. That doesn't match, so we can eliminate that. Next up, D. The first number is 6,063. Okay, that matches ours. Second number is 6,084. Yep, that matches ours. And last number, 6,108. Yep, that matches. We found our answer, D. All right, so we determined our rule. Our rule was we're adding multiples of 3. So the number that we added changed every time. Then we also extended that pattern by first figuring out the next multiples of 3 and then adding them. Go ahead to the next video to practice another pattern problem together.